Afternoon, everyone. How are we? A couple of fans in the audience, I see. My name's Mike. I'm co-founder of Taiboku and the Emerald Company. Today, we're going to be talking about a few different things. But if I could ask in the audience, show of hands, who here owns a luxury good? And my next question is it real? How do you know? Did you buy it from a store or from someone else on a secondary market? Because chances are, if it's from the secondary market, you might not be sitting on something real. And so the question is, how do we transfer the value of the luxury goods we're purchasing when we're dealing in consumer markets? What do emeralds, blockchain, and a Rolex watch have in common? All are more valuable when you know their story. So as it is, we're at a crypto conference and people talk about blockchain and Web3 and tokens and all the rest. But it's up until a certain point in time people begin to see the value of what they're investing in when they begin to understand the technology and the story behind it. The same is said for a Rolex watch and its history, and the same goes for emeralds, which have been around for thousands of years. Real or fake? Who cares? So if you got something you've spent thousands of dollars on, whether it be from a store or on the secondary market, you want to make sure that that is real, because at a certain point in time, you want to transfer that value. Or it's a perception base. When someone walks into a room wearing a Rolex watch, Gucci shoes, Louis Vuitton, do you question if what they're wearing is real or fake? Does it matter to you or does it matter to them? It matters to the brand and it matters to the investors. Who here, if you have spent thousands of dollars on a luxury handbag, would feel like shit tomorrow if you found out it was worth 50 bucks? I know you would. I would too. The key challenges in the industry at the moment, which is currently in a decline, are the fake good market. This is a booming industry. It's in the billions of dollars, and if you've ever traveled to Asia, you'll see exactly what that market looks like. Anyone here been to Bangkok recently? DevCon, just a few weeks ago, or a week or so ago, yeah. Did any of you head to Chinatown, have a look around? Any of the supermarkets? Everywhere you will find fake luxury goods. And in this market are what is called super clones. Super clones are so good, some say they're even made in the same factory as the original luxury goods themselves. Super clones come with NFC chips, they come with authentic boxes and authenticated material, even receipts to get you through customs. Another issue is the ethical sourcing and social impact that luxury goods have on the market. In the last few years alone, many brands have been impacted by stories of sweatshops and, child labor, goods that have been mined unethically. When we talk about gold and the gold industry, we're talking about mines that are operating in an environment where people aren't working under conditions that are healthy or with pay. And in emeralds, it's similar. We're talking about an industry that's been around for a very long time where 90% of the miners that are mining in that industry don't receive a pay. Consumer demand is also driving the industry in the sense that we're moving towards a new era. Much of us in this room, we grew up before Facebook. We're now in the Facebook, TikTok, Instagram era. We're seeing the effect of how marketing impacts us and the way we consume goods. But as millennials, Gen Z, Gen A, Gen B, Gen C, and so on begin to emerge as the consumers of our ecosystems, they are becoming more aware of the types of things that they're buying and the stories that are attached to them, the intrinsic value that they provide to the brand and the brand provides back to them. There is a significant reputational cost to the industry. With a brand or a company, they can have their investment ratings lowered, and this has an impact on whether or not they can access more credit. It has an impact on their brand that can signify significant costs in repairing the brand. So we talk about the cost of PR. We talk about the cost of changing the image from what it used to be to what it is today. A reflection point with emeralds in Colombia. As I travel the world and as I stand on this stage today, and I ask the question, what is the largest export out of Colombia? Raise your hands if you're going to think of emeralds first. Raise your hands if you're going to think of something else first. Exactly. So for decades, Colombia has been faced with a PR nightmare of what it's capable of exporting. And this is one of the problems that our industry looks to fix, the image. The Euro Blockchain Consortium is setting a new standard for luxury goods in the industry. Some of you probably haven't heard of who the Euro Blockchain is, but essentially it's made up of big brands like LVMH, Cartier, Prada, etc. The goal here is to set a new standard for trust. Innovation in the industry using Web3, but more importantly, using technology to verify the goods that you're purchasing. So if you've got a handbag from Louis Vuitton, it more than likely has an NFC chip in it these days, and that information will be reflected across a blockchain. This is important because using the blockchain allows us to prove the ethical standards and social governance as well as our environmental standards. Blockchain provides an immutable proof. I'm not going to educate you all on blockchain. You all pretty much know what that is from the show of faces in this room. But to understand how that impacts a brand going forward the next 10, 20, and 30 years is important, the brand's value. At the moment, it's argued that brands like Louis Vuitton are stuck with goods in the industry, let's say the standard goods in the industry, bread and milk. These are going up due to inflation. But how does a brand like Louis Vuitton argue that the price of their goods should go up with inflation too? Brands are relying on just the brand alone. They need to find and execute new value. Blockchain helps. It's a journey to a solution. So I've been around the world a couple of times now and listened to a few people argue how blockchain solves the problem. But I argue that it only helps the problem. Now, brands like you've all heard, your handbags, your shoes, your clothes, jewelry in fact, they go through a process of evolution where blockchain can help prove the authenticity of the item. It can help prove the transparency of the item. But at the end of the day, as we've seen in technology, technology can be gotten around. And when we talk about people who are the consumer of these markets and where they're extracting value later, this is where things start to fall apart. Emeralds and innovation. I'm here to talk to you today about how the Emerald Company is doing things different. Who here has the ownership of an emerald? Emerald ring, emerald jewelry, or anything? Ever held a real emerald for yourself? This is a 1,064 carat Muso emerald. It hails from Colombia. How do we know that this is real? How can we prove its authenticity? And how can we make sure it stays authentic as it moves through the supply chain? The Emerald Company has partnered with Provenance Proof. Companies like Provenance Proof are helping change the game for the jewelry industry. They developed a technology that allows this emerald to be soaked in a DNA physical tracer on site. Why this is important and how it is different to gold is it allows us to prove from day one where this emerald was born. We know without any doubt that this emerald came from the geolocation that we gave it on the blockchain. It's immutable proof of where this was born. Now, this technology is amazing and it's perfect for emeralds. Emeralds have natural inclusions. No two emeralds are the same. When this emerald is soaked in this solution, the DNA technology seeps into the inclusions, which means that when we can prove its origin, its birth from the physical location of that mine and move it through the supply chain, cutting it down, grading it, polishing it, giving it certification, all of this data is uploaded to the blockchain as we move through. Nothing can be amended. The beauty of this physical tracer is that by the time this ends up in a jewelry piece, a ring, a necklace, or otherwise, those nanotracers are still inside that emerald that sits in your jewelry. This means that we can trace all the way back without having to tamper any part of the logistic infrastructure. This transfer of luxury is important when we are building a brand looking forward to the future. We are coming into the age of the boomers, and beyond that, we are looking for new ways to market to the new age consumer. Technology helps the brand prove its authenticity. The Emerald Company's jewelry can be verified as real using our technology in combination with the provenance proof technology. The transparency, all of the information that we are obtaining on the mine site, video, photographs, standards of how we are paying staff, all of this information uploaded into a private chain, allowing auditors the ability to see through the lens of trust. It protects the brand. So as the brand grows, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it will have set a new standard in the industry of what is accepted as provenance and traceability of a product that is reaching a consumer market. And where it matters the most to you, all of the people in this room who are the consumers of this emerald or the emerald jewelry, it's when you choose to get rid of it or pass it down to the next generation. Can I have that for a moment, please? Your ring. Let's say, for example, in a situation where you've got two honest parties, my wife, who's soon to be my ex-wife for whatever reason, and yourself as the buyer. You want to buy this ring for your partner. She knows the value of this ring. It's valued at $15,000. She's got the certificate of authenticity, etc., etc. She's listed it online because we're no longer together, and she wants to separate herself from this item and remove it from her life so she's no longer thinking about our natural connection. You line up as the buyer, and after looking at the information, you are happy to say that this item is worth $15,000. She's selling it to you for $10,000. What happens when she's not my wife and we are not breaking up and she is just someone that has a $50 ring or a ring that's worth a couple of $100? It's real gold, but the emerald is fake. The emerald is potentially synthetic, or it was a Zambian emerald, which has a fraction of the value of a Musa emerald that this claims to be. But the certificate of authenticity that you are looking at stipulates that this did come from Musa, and you are happy to pay that $10,000 for the $15,000 ring. She walks away with your money, and you go to flip it for an extra $2.5K tomorrow to find out it's worth $300. That's where the technology helps transfer the value into secondary markets. Don't worry, you'll get this back. Secondary markets are an important point for brands because it affects their bottom dollar. An example of this, and I won't name the company, but the replicas of their product were so good that even experts weren't clued onto the fact that what they were buying on the secondary market was in fact a fake product. They were using this product, having spent a lot of money on it, to do their business, and as a result of the product being a fake product, its quality was extremely poor. Now, this happened at a scale. There were thousands of these going out to the market, and then as a result, there were thousands of people purchasing this on the secondary market, complaining publicly. It's a PR nightmare when you have to educate your investors, your bottom dollar, and your new customers that the thousands of people complaining about the quality of your product are wrong. It's a PR nightmare worth millions. Now, we are at a crypto conference, so it's important to touch on emeralds and RWAs. I've traveled around for a bit, and often I'm asked the question, what are you doing here when I walk into the room? people say, what do you do in the industry? And I say, they usually look at my name tag and it says the Emerald Company. I say, we mine emeralds. So they think that I'm mining Bitcoin, Ethereum, or something else, and it's called the Emerald Company. The next logical conclusion when I say, no, it's emerald rocks. They say, oh, okay, you're tokenizing emeralds. I say, well, hang on, hold up a second. It's more complex than just to tokenize an asset that doesn't have a set price point like diamonds. And then the next thing they say is, well, what are you doing here? Well, we're all here for more than just meme coins, aren't we? It's about the technology and what this infrastructure is going to look like for our consumers in the future. How emeralds as RWAs helps within a Web3 ecosystem and vice versa is it democratizes access to an industry that is otherwise locked out. And I use this example a lot in Australia, if you're one of the thousands of jewelers in Australia looking to access quality Muso emeralds, which are arguably the best in the world, you have a hard time getting them to Australia, and if you do get them to Australia, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, so you pretty much don't bother. With our platform designed to democratize access, we're able to provide access to our emeralds directly from our mine at a fraction of the cost, but with authenticity built in, traceability built in, ESG standards built in, protecting our brand and theirs. But it's not just jewelers who can access these emeralds. Emeralds are an investment-grade product if cut correctly and graded correctly. Emeralds have been traded like gold for thousands of years. They hold a monetary value and they've been increasing year after year. Emeralds are also resistant in the sense that, and an example I'll give is De Beers. They've lost 70% of their market value on diamonds because of the synthetic market. Arguably, synthetic diamonds, and I might offend some people here, synthetic diamonds are real diamonds. The only difference between the two is that one was born millions of years ago and one was probably born next week, but they are identical. They are the same. They have the same chemical composition. Emeralds are a little bit different. To create a synthetic emerald, it's easy, but to create unique and organic inclusions is not. So while there is a market for synthetic emeralds, you cannot create inclusions in the same way that the Earth does over 50 millions of years. So accessing investment-grade emeralds becomes easier through a Web3 ecosystem, especially one like this, which is worth 6 figures. We are able to introduce fractionalization that allows multiple people to own that as it appreciates in value. But it's not just stones, cut, polished, or otherwise. This here is a specimen. It's also jewelry. The luxury jewelry market is booming, but the luxury rental market is booming too. People spend, high net worth individuals will spend up to 20% of the total value of a luxury good just to have it for the weekend, for a wedding or otherwise. That's a lot of money. And if we've got a $500,000 Patek that's encrusted with Muso emeralds available for fractional ownership to a community where that good is offered in the rental market, the community is able to tap into that resource. They would not otherwise be able to do so out of their own pocket without fractionalization. There is an element of social inclusion. It's not just about getting emeralds out of the ground, and it's certainly not just about making money. It's about changing the name. As I mentioned before, PR is a nightmare. And one of the most important things we aim to do at the Emerald Company is change the name of the game. And in order to do that, we need to help the people that are affected the most on the ground. I'm running out of time, but a little story that I have is, if you go home and do your research tonight, and look at what mining Colombian emeralds looked like 30 years ago to today, you'll see a seismic shift in the way that it has occurred. But there is still a stigma in the sense of all mining that the people that are most afflicted are the ones that are pulling it out of the ground. As I said before, more than 90% of the industry don't get paid. There is no sense of security, no welfare. I know a guy that I met in Muso who hasn't found an emerald in 30 years, and therefore he hasn't received a pay in 30 years. So changing the game is possible by allowing a community to step in and provide value to, a Web3 community to step in and provide value to a local community. And that can be done through a trade program. There's a little video that I'll play in the background. It's on the website. But I'll open it up for questions if anyone has some. We've got 4.5 minutes to go. Otherwise, if nobody's got any questions, we can do some show and tell. And if you'd like to hold an emerald, as long as you don't drop it, feel free to come forward. Who would like to hold a 1,000 carat emerald? Please don't drop it.